What happens when the quietest man in the Mafia becomes the only one who makes a cop's heart feel alive? She was trained to hunt criminals, not fall for them. He was raised in the shadows, never expecting to be seen by anyone, especially not by her. But the night their worlds collided, something broke inside both of them. Her duty, his silence, and the invisible line neither of them was ever supposed to cross. Because falling for him wasn't just dangerous, it was deadly. And now, you're about to hear the story they never wanted anyone to tell. Stay with me. Before we dive into this story, hit the like button and subscribe. Here you'll hear the most forbidden, emotional, and addictive love stories on YouTube. And today's will leave you speechless. Have you ever met someone you should have walked away from the second your eyes met, but something in you refused to move? Someone who wasn't meant to be part of your world, and yet somehow felt like the only person who truly understood you. That's exactly what happened to her. She was a cop, strong, disciplined, respected, the kind of woman who built walls around her heart because the job demanded it. Every day, she looked criminals in the eye and saw only danger, never possibility, never softness, never hope. Until him. He wasn't like the others, quiet, observant, a shadow standing behind men who loved violence too much. He didn't belong in that world, not truly, but was tied to it by blood, the blood of a powerful mafia boss whose name could silence entire rooms. She should have seen him as just another threat, another enemy, another man she'd eventually arrest. But the first time she saw him, she didn't feel fear. She felt something she shouldn't have felt, something she didn't even have a name for. And he felt it too. He had spent years hiding his emotions, keeping his head low, staying invisible, a ghost within the Mafia, a quiet son who didn't fit the world he was born into. But when he saw her, confident, determined, impossibly brave, something inside him cracked. And once a crack appears, the whole structure begins to fall apart. Their first encounter wasn't supposed to matter. A routine operation, a simple glimpse through a crowded street. But in that, a single second, they both felt a pull, one that neither could explain or ignore. And what neither of them knew then was that this small moment would turn into something much bigger, something dangerous, something that would put both their lives on the line. So before we continue, ask yourself this. Have you ever felt drawn to someone who could ruin everything? If you have, then you're ready to hear what comes next. It happened on a Thursday afternoon, one of those quiet days when nothing seems out of place, nothing seems destined to change. She had been assigned to a surveillance operation on the East Side, a neighborhood known for hosting the subtle movements of the Moretti crime family. Her job was simple: observe, report, wait for orders. She wasn't expecting anything unusual, and certainly not him. She watched the alley through a cracked window of an abandoned pastry shop, binoculars in hand, coffee long gone cold at her side. Men came and went, loud, sloppy, predictable. Exactly. The type of criminals she was used to dealing with, but then a car door opened, and he stepped out. At first, she didn't even realize who he was. He didn't carry himself like the others. No arrogance, no swagger, no careless bravado. Instead, there was a stillness to him, a calm that didn't belong in a place like that. He walked slightly behind the others, hands in his pockets, eyes lowered, as if trying to disappear inside his own body. But when he lifted his head, her breath caught in her throat. Dark eyes, soft but distant. A face that held stories she couldn't read yet. A quiet kind of sadness mixed with something else, something she couldn't name. And for one impossible second, their eyes met through the dirty glass. He froze. She froze. Time didn't slow down. It stopped. She felt it first. A jolt. A spark. Something dangerously similar to recognition. He felt it too. His expression changed, almost imperceptibly. A flicker of curiosity, maybe even confusion, as if he was trying to understand why a complete stranger suddenly made his heart stumble. Then one of the Mafia men called his name. "Luca!" Not loud, not harsh. Just enough to break the moment. He blinked, looked away, and followed the group inside the building. Just like that, the spell shattered. She should have shaken it off. Just another criminal, just another face. But instead, she lowered her binoculars and whispered to herself, "Who are you?" For the rest of the operation, she couldn't focus. Every time the door opened, she prayed that he would be the one stepping out. And when he finally did, hours later, she felt her chest tighten for reasons she refused to acknowledge. He glanced up at her window again, just a glance, but it was enough to confirm something terrifying. He had seen her the first time, he was looking for her the second time, and in that silent exchange, a line had already been crossed, one neither of them would ever be able to uncross. She told herself it was nothing, just a look, just a moment, just a face in a file she would eventually help put away. At least, that's what Officer Elena Blake repeated in her head as she sat at her desk that night, the glow of the precinct's computer screens washing everything in a cold, artificial blue. But no matter how many reports she opened or how many case files she forced herself to read, her mind kept drifting back to the alley, the cracked window, and the quiet man who didn't fit the world he was standing. In the one they called Luca. She dug her pen into the paper a little too hard, leaving a small tear near the corner of the page. "Rough night?" her partner asked, tossing a file onto her desk. She blinked, snapping out of the thought. "Just tired," she lied. "Yeah, well, no rest for the righteous. Moretti case just got updated." He tapped the folder. "Fresh intel from organized crime. The old man's son might be stepping up more than we thought." Her heart skipped. "The son?" she repeated as casually as she could. "Yeah, you know how it is. Aging king, quiet prince, family business." He shrugged. "They say he's not like the others, but that never means harmless, just means smarter." She flipped open the folder, pulse rising in her ears. Photos, reports, transcripts. Faces she knew too well, loud, violent, arrogant. And then, halfway through the file, she saw him. A grainy surveillance photo, slightly turned away, jaw tight, eyes shadowed. Underneath, a name, Luca Moretti. She swallowed. Moretti. Of course. Son of Enzo Moretti, one of the most feared mafia bosses in the city. A man whose name made witnesses forget what they saw. A man Elena had spent years helping investigate, knowing that one solid piece of evidence could bring his empire down. And the man she'd locked eyes with through that dirty window was his son. Her chest tightened with a mix of anger, disappointment, and something she refused to label. He's one of them, she told herself. He's not some mystery. He's not different. He's just quieter. So why did that make him harder to hate? She read the small profile under his photo. Luca Moretti, age 28. No prior convictions. Official businesses tied to family, logistics, imports, suspected involvement in money laundering operations. Known for avoiding violence, rarely seen carrying weapons. Witness descriptions, always in the background, always watching, just like he had watched her. She shut the file a little too fast. Her partner raised an eyebrow. "Everything okay?" "Fine," she said. "Just a lot to process. You'll get used to it." He smirked. They all looked the same after a while. But that was the problem. Luca didn't. That night, when Elena finally went home, the city felt different. Every shadow looked like it might be hiding someone. Every car rolling slowly past her building made her fingers twitch toward the gun at her hip. She double-checked her locks, triple-checked her windows, told herself it was just precaution. It wasn't. It was him. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything she had seen. The way he moved behind the others. The way he looked uncomfortable standing too close to certain men. The way he had scanned the street, not like a predator, but like someone who had learned to survive by reading danger before it arrived. It didn't match the profile of a typical Mafia heir. and that bothered her more than it should, because the job was easier when people were simple, when they were fully guilty or fully innocent, when you didn't have to wonder if there was a war inside them. But with Luca, that war felt real. Across the city, Luca sat alone in the back office of one of his father's restaurants, the noise of the kitchen muffled behind a thick door. He should have been going over inventory reports, but his pen hadn't touched the paper in 20 minutes. He was still thinking about her, the woman in the window. He didn't know her name, didn't know her rank, didn't know which unit she belonged to, but he knew she was a cop, and he knew she had seen him. He replayed the moment their eyes met with an obsessive precision he didn't allow himself with anything else in his life. The intensity in her gaze, the way she didn't flinch, the sharp intelligence behind her calm stare. She wasn't like the detectives who only saw the Moretti name and nothing else. She looked at him like he wasn't just a last name, like she was trying to read him, understand him. That was dangerous, not for his father, for him. Because for the first time, he didn't feel the immediate need to look away. He wanted to keep looking back. He leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. He shouldn't be thinking about her. He shouldn't be wondering if she went home safe. He shouldn't be imagining what her voice sounded like when she wasn't giving orders, but he was. And somewhere between the numbers he pretended to read and the silence pressing against the office walls, Luca made a mistake. He let himself say the thought out loud. I hope she's okay. No one heard it. But it was enough. Enough to prove to himself that the line he was supposed to stand behind had already been crossed. Back at her apartment, Eleanor turned on her side, gave up trying to sleep, and whispered a name into the darkness she wished she hadn't learned. Luca Moretti. The enemy. The son of a man she wanted behind bars. The quiet presence she couldn't get out of her head. She told herself. It was just professional interest, just intel, just strategy. But deep down, in the place she didn't let anyone see, she already knew the truth. This wasn't just about the case anymore. It was about him. And that was the most dangerous part. Eleanor wasn't supposed to be there that night. It was meant to be a simple follow-up. Check the street cameras around the Moretti restaurant, cross-reference the timestamps, and go home. Nothing more. She told herself it was routine. She told herself it had nothing to do with the quiet man whose name still lingered in her mind, but people rarely tell themselves the truth. When she arrived, the street was nearly empty. The restaurant's kitchen lights glowed through a back window, but the front was dark, closed for the night. She walked toward the side alley to inspect a camera that often malfunctioned, not expecting anything unusual. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, controlled, too controlled. Her hand went immediately to her holster, her body tensing as she spun around. And there he was, Luca. Standing at the edge of the alley, hands raised just enough to show he wasn't posing a threat. His chest rose and fell in a steady rhythm, but his eyes held the same stillness as the day she first saw him. Quiet, observant, almost painfully honest. I didn't mean to scare you, he said, his voice low and warm, like someone who wasn't used to speaking much, but chose his words carefully when he did. Eleanor kept her hand near her, weapon but didn't pull it. You shouldn't sneak up on cops in dark alleys, she replied, her tone sharper than she expected. He nodded, accepting the rebuke without defensiveness. You're right, I'm sorry. Something about the way he said it, calm, sincere, without the arrogance most criminals carried, disarmed her more than an apology should. Silence stretched between them, thick and fragile. Elena finally crossed her arms, trying to regain control of her breath and her professionalism. What do you want, Luca? The question slipped out before she could stop herself. His eyes flickered. Surprise, recognition, something deeper. You know my name, he murmured. She hated the way that sounded. She hated the small jolt that went through her when he said it. Of course I know your name, it's my job. But her voice lacked the cold edge she wished it had. He took one careful step closer. Not threatening, not invasive. Just curious. "And do you know what I am?" he asked softly. "A Moretti," she answered, "the Mafia boss's son." He exhaled through his nose almost like a laugh, but without joy. "That's what everyone says." "Is it wrong?" she challenged. He hesitated, and that hesitation felt like the most honest thing she'd heard all week. "It's not the whole truth," he said. "But it's enough," she replied. For a moment he looked hurt, not offended, hurt, as if the label weighed far more than she realized, and then, unexpectedly, he changed the subject. "You were watching earlier," he said, "from the building across the street." Her heartbeat stumbled. He'd noticed. He wasn't supposed to have noticed. "That was part of an investigation," she replied, too fast. He tilted his head slightly. "I know. I'm not here to interfere." "Then why are you here?" she pressed. He didn't answer immediately. He looked away, staring at the empty street as if searching for permission in the night air. Then he turned back to her, expression open in a way she didn't expect. "I wanted to make sure you were okay." The words hit her harder than they should. She blinked. "Okay?" she echoed, almost laughing at the absurdity. "Why would I not be okay?" "Because you were watching men who don't like being watched," he said quietly. "And because you looked tired, like something was weighing on you." She hated how accurate he was. She hated that he could read her like that, and she hated that it felt good. "I can take care of myself," she whispered. "I know you can," Luca said, taking another small step toward her. "That's not why I'm here." He stood close enough now that she could see the tiny scar near his eyebrow, the one no file mentioned, the one that looked like a childhood accident, not a Mafia wound. "Then why?" she demanded. He looked into her eyes, and in that moment, the world outside the alley disappeared. "Because," he said softly, I think you see me in a way no one else does." Her breath caught. His voice didn't shake. His posture didn't change. But the vulnerability behind the words was real, dangerous, honest. She stepped back instinctively, not because he frightened her, but because the truth in what he said frightened her. "You should go," she murmured. "I will." He paused. "But I didn't come to threaten you. I won't ever do that." The promise slipped into her bones like something she had been waiting to hear without realizing it. "And Officer Blake." She froze when he spoke her name. "I hope you stay safe." He walked away, then disappearing into the shadows as quietly as he had appeared. Eleanor remained frozen for a long moment, her hand trembling slightly as she pressed it to her chest. He wasn't supposed to speak to her. He wasn't supposed to notice her. He wasn't supposed to care, but he did. And that was the moment she knew whatever was happening between them was no longer accidental. It was inevitable. Eleanor didn't sleep that night. Not a minute. She kept replaying the alley, the way his voice dropped when he said her name, the quiet sincerity behind his promise. He wasn't supposed to get under her skin like that, and she sure as hell wasn't supposed to let him. By sunrise, she had finally convinced herself it was just adrenaline, that odd chemical chaos that happens when danger and attraction collide. She could shake it off. She would shake it off. But the universe had other plans. When she walked into the precinct that morning, her captain was waiting. Not at his desk. At her desk. That never meant anything good. "Blake, my office. Now." Her pulse spiked. She followed him in, closed the door and braced herself. "There was activity near the Moretti restaurant last night," he said immediately. "Camera glitches. Unmarked cars cruising the block. Someone on our side might have spooked them." She kept her face perfectly neutral. Years of training, years of interrogations. "Do we know what caused it?" she asked. "Yeah," the captain said, leaning back in his chair, eyes locked on hers. You were there." Her throat tightened. He slid a printed timestamp across the table. Street camera footage. Her walking through the alley. She swallowed. "Surveillance follow-up," she said calmly. "Routine." "On whose orders?" he asked. She didn't blink, didn't flinch. "Mine," she replied. "I noticed something off earlier in the day and wanted to check it before submitting the final report. No sense in raising alarms unless I was sure." It was smooth, too smooth. He studied her, skeptical. "And did you see anything unusual?" Her lungs hesitated for half a second, barely perceptible but enough that she felt it like a knife. She thought of Luca, standing too close, looking at her like she mattered, saying her name with that softness he shouldn't have. Her body reacted before her brain could debate it. "No," she said, "nothing unusual." That was it. The lie. The first one. She felt it leave her lips like something irreversible, like crossing a line she didn't even know she was. Stepping over. The captain nodded slowly. "All right, I'll trust your judgment." A beat. "But next time, Blake, you clear your movements with me, especially when they involve the Moretti family." "I will," she said. Another lie. He dismissed her. She walked out in silence. What haunted her wasn't the interrogation. She'd been through worse. What haunted her was the ease with which she protected him, a man she didn't know, didn't trust, shouldn't care about, but she did care. That was the problem. The day moved slowly. Her partner joked. Officers walked by with coffee. Papers stacked up on her desk. And through all of it, Luca stayed lodged in her thoughts like a splinter she couldn't pull out. By the time her shift ended, she told herself the lie had been harmless. A tiny omission. Nothing that would change the outcome of an investigation. But when she stepped out of the precinct and headed toward her car, she saw him, leaning against a streetlight, hands in pockets, head tilted slightly. Down, as if he didn't want to stand out, but somehow did anyway. Her heart slammed against her ribs. He pushed off the pole when he saw her, stepping out of the shadow into the amber streetlight. "You lied today," he said quietly. Her breath hitched. "How do you know that?" "Because if you hadn't," he said, eyes locked on hers, "my father's men would have shown up at my door already." A chill traveled through her. "You saved me," he added softly, "even if you don't want to admit it." Her pulse throbbed in her throat. "What are you doing here, Luca? You can't show up like this. Anyone could—" "No one followed me," he cut in, his voice calm but urgent. "I'm not reckless. Being here is reckless." "Maybe," he said, taking a step closer, "but I needed to see you." "Why?" she whispered, hating how weak her voice sounded. He didn't touch her, didn't crowd her, just looked at her like she was something rare, something breakable. "Because today," he murmured, "proved something." She swallowed. "What?" "That you don't see me as an enemy." Her breath caught. And then he leaned in, not touching her, just close enough for his words to melt against her skin. "And I don't see you as one either." A car passed by. Voices echoed in the distance. A dog barked across the street. The world continued, but between them, something shifted, something fragile, something inevitable. "You shouldn't be here," she said again, a little weaker this time. "I know," he replied softly. Neither of them moved. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time blurred. Finally, he stepped back. "I won't put you at risk," he said, "but thank you for what you did." Before she could respond, he disappeared into the night. Eleanor stood on the sidewalk long after he was gone, her hands trembling slightly. Not from fear, from the terrifying realization that she had already chosen a side without understanding the consequences. And deep down, she couldn't tell whether that made her reckless or already lost. Elena told herself she wouldn't think about him again. She told herself she wouldn't replay his words on the sidewalk, the quiet, "You don't see me as an enemy," or the way he stepped back like he was trying not to cross a line he desperately wanted to. But lies are easy to tell, hard to believe, and by the time Friday night rolled around, she felt the tension in her bones, a tightness she tried to ignore by burying herself in paperwork, interviews, reports, anything that didn't involve dark eyes, soft voices, and a man she had no business wanting. Around midnight, she finally locked up her car and started walking toward her building. The street was quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet that makes a cop's instincts flare to life. Her hand drifted to her hip, fingers brushing the grip of her off-duty weapon as she scanned the shadows. Then she heard it. Footsteps, not rushed, not casual, trailing her. She kept walking, posture steady, heartbeat accelerating. The footsteps quickened. She turned into a narrower street, a shortcut she used often, but tonight it felt like a trap. She didn't run, but her steps sharpened, becoming precise, strategic. Another sound, a second set of footsteps. She drew her weapon, pivoting fast. Stop! The street stayed empty. For a moment, then a figure stepped out from behind a dumpster. Tall, broad-shouldered, hoodie pulled low. A stranger, not Luca, not anyone she recognized. He didn't raise his hands, didn't flinch at the sight of a gun. Instead, he smirked. "You're Elena Blake, right?" Her stomach dropped. "How do you know my name?" He didn't answer. He just kept walking toward her. Then another figure appeared behind her, and another. 3 men, all closing in. Her pulse spiked, but she kept steady. "Back off," she warned. "I'm armed." They laughed. "You think we care?" the first one said. "You've been sticking your nose where it doesn't belong." The way he said it, cold, assured, told her exactly what she feared. This wasn't random. This wasn't a mugging. This wasn't bad luck. This was connected to the Morettis. "You should have stayed away," another man growled, pulling a knife. "Now you get to pay the price." Elena didn't hesitate. She fired once, hitting the pavement near his foot intentionally. The shot echoing through the alley like a warning shot meant to draw attention, but she knew backup wouldn't arrive in time. "Come on," one of them sneered, rushing her. She blocked, ducked, used his momentum. Against him, her training flawless, practiced. But while she held one off, the others pushed in. She was fast, she was strong, but she was outnumbered. A fist slammed into her ribs, a knee caught her thigh, pain shot through her side. She stumbled, briefly. And that was all it took for one of them to grab her shoulder and shove her against the wall, knife glinting under the streetlight. "You should have known when to quit." A gun clicked, behind them, cold, precise. "Let her go." The men froze, and her chest tightened when she heard the voice. Luca. He stepped into the alley, not yelling, not panicking, just deadly calm, the kind of calm that made every hair on Elena's arms rise. "This is your only warning," he said. "Walk away." The men hesitated. Just long enough. Then Luca fired. One bullet, clean and controlled, hitting the brick inches from the closest man's ear. The message was unmistakable. He didn't miss. He chose not to. The attackers ran, stumbling, cursing, disappearing, into the night. When they were gone, Elena pressed a hand to her ribs, breathing hard. Luca approached slowly, holstering his weapon. "You okay?" he asked. "Fine," she lied, wincing. He saw it. He always saw it. He stepped closer, reaching out, but stopping just before touching her, giving her the space to choose. She hated how grateful she felt in that moment, hated how relief washed over her like a wave, hated how safe he made her feel. "You followed me?" she demanded. "No." His voice was steady. "I was watching the street, and when I saw them trailing you, I didn't think, I just moved." "That's not your job," she said sharply, pushing off the wall. "I know," he murmured. "You can't do that. You can't keep showing up." "I know." "Then why do you keep—" He cut her off softly. "Because I can't pretend I don't care." The words hit harder than the punches she'd taken. He stepped closer, slow, hesitant, eyes searching hers like he needed permission to breathe near her. "I shouldn't be anywhere near you," she whispered. "I know. We're on opposite sides." "I know. This could get us both killed." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I know." Silence swallowed the alley. Not empty silence, loaded silence, the kind that wraps around two people like a trembling truth. He finally said, "But tonight, if I hadn't been here..." His jaw tightened. "I don't want to think about that." A sharp breath escaped her. She didn't want to think about it either. For a long moment, neither moved. She stood against the wall, bruised and shaken. He stood inches away, breathing hard, hands trembling the way his voice didn't. And in that fragile, dangerous stillness, she realized something terrifying. She didn't want him to leave. Not tonight, not now, not after this. And that was the beginning of the downfall neither of them could stop anymore. For the next 2 days, Eleanor walked around with bruises on her ribs and a storm inside her chest. Everyone at the precinct thought she'd taken a fall during a pursuit. That's what she told them. It was easier than admitting the truth, that 3 men tried to kill her, and that Luca Moretti saved her life. She hated how many times she replayed the moment. His voice, his eyes, the way he stepped into danger like her safety mattered more than his own. It wasn't normal, it wasn't logical, and it definitely wasn't allowed. She tried to bury it, tried to focus on work, tried to drown her thoughts in procedures, reports, stale coffee, anything. But nothing worked. And when the sun set, she found herself pacing her apartment, restless, heart tight with something she didn't want to name. Around midnight, she finally stepped onto her balcony for air and froze. Luca was across the street, not in the shadows this time, not hiding, standing under a street lamp, hands in his pockets, looking up at her like he'd been waiting all night. Her chest tightened, half fear, half something far more dangerous. She didn't call out. She didn't wave. She just stared. After a long, breathless moment, she made the wrong decision, the one she'd been avoiding, denying, pretending she'd never take. She went down to him. Not because she needed to. Not because he asked. But because the truth had finally become too loud to ignore. When she reached the sidewalk, Luca straightened, worry flickering across his face. "You shouldn't come out here," he said softly. "And you shouldn't be here," she countered. He nodded once. Neither moved. The street was empty. The night was quiet. Too quiet. "Are you hurt?" he asked, eyes scanning her like he was afraid to see injuries he didn't know about. "I'm fine," she said, then winced when her ribs protested. His jaw tightened. "They shouldn't have touched you." "They're gone," she replied. "That's not the point." The way he said it, low, fierce, sent a shiver through her. She crossed her arms, trying to keep distance, trying to hold on to control. "You can't protect me, Luca." "I know. It's not your job." "I know. You're making things worse." He stepped closer, slow, cautious. "I know." "Then why do you keep showing up?" she demanded. His answer came like a confession he'd been trying to swallow for days. "Because I can't stay away." Her breath hitched. He wasn't lying. She could hear it in every syllable, feel it in every inch between them. "You're on the wrong side," she whispered. "So are you," he replied quietly. She stiffened. "What's that supposed to mean?" He hesitated, eyes full of words he wasn't ready to say. Then gently, "You lied for me, Elena." Her throat closed. "You protected me, and I can't pretend I don't feel what that means." Her pulse hammered, loud enough she was sure he could hear it. "I didn't. It wasn't." "You did," he said, voice soft but certain. "And you would again." She swallowed hard, panic and desire tangling in her chest. "This is dangerous," she warned. "Everything about us is dangerous. You're a Moretti, and you're a cop." Neither retreating, neither blinking. The night tightened around them like a held breath. He stepped closer, close enough that she felt the warmth of his body, the quiet intensity radiating off him. "Elena," he said softly, "tell me to leave, and I will." Her heart squeezed, her lips parted. The words wouldn't come. "Tell me," he whispered. "Say it. Say go. Say leave. Say this is wrong." But she didn't. She couldn't. Instead, her voice came out trembling. "Why me, Luca?" He exhaled like... The question broke him open. "Because," he murmured, "you look at me like I'm not what they say I am, like I could be something else, something better." His voice dropped, raw. "No one has ever looked at me like that." Something inside her trembled, something she had locked away for years. "Luca?" He stopped her with one more step forward, closing the last inch between them. "I don't want to cross a line you don't want crossed," he whispered. "But don't ask me to pretend I don't feel this. I've tried." Her breath shook. "Luca, this can ruin everything." "I know. It can get us killed." "I know. And you're still standing here." He nodded. "I'm standing with you." Her resolve shattered. She closed her eyes, and the truth she had been choking back finally surfaced. "I don't want you to go." His inhale was sharp, almost painful. "Eleanor." When she opened her eyes, he was right there, close enough to touch, close enough to feel, close enough to destroy her. The tension snapped, not with a kiss, not with a touch, but with a truth spoken aloud for the first time. "This isn't just danger anymore," she whispered. "This is us." And he breathed out the answer she already knew. It always was. The morning after their almost confession, Elena woke with the strange, dangerous feeling that something had shifted inside her, as if the city didn't look the same, as if she didn't look the same. She told herself she'd pull back. She told herself she'd put distance between them. She told herself she'd start acting like a cop again, not like a woman falling into something she couldn't control. By noon, she'd already broken all 3 promises. Her phone buzzed, an unknown number, a single text. "Be careful today. LM." Her heart twisted. She deleted the message immediately, but the effect remained. A warning, a truth, a threat wrapped in concern. She tried to focus on work, but every instinct, every sense, every nerve felt heightened, stretched thin. Something was coming. She didn't know what, but she knew who. And she was right. It happened at dusk, when the light bleeds orange and the city feels like it's holding its breath. She was walking toward the precinct parking lot when a sleek black car pulled up too slowly, too silent. The windows rolled down just enough for a pair of eyes, cold, assessing, predator-like, to lock on hers. She reached for her weapon instinctively. A voice from inside the car spoke her name. Officer Elena Blake. Not a question. Not a guess. A confirmation. Her blood turned cold. "Can I help you?" she asked sharply. A hand slid a photo through the cracked window, her surveillance picture from the alley 2 nights earlier. The exact moment she and Luca looked at each other. "Curious night to be doing solo work," the man said. She kept her expression stone still, but inside, alarms screamed. The car door opened, and then she saw him. Carlo Bianchi, the Moretti family's enforcer, their blade, their loyal dog with a taste for violence. And worse, Luca's childhood friend, the man Luca grew up with, the man Luca used to trust, the man who clearly wasn't on Luca's side anymore. Carlo stepped out slowly, smiling like a man who already owned the outcome. "Funny thing," he said, pacing around her. "We've been seeing more of you near our properties, asking questions, watching things you shouldn't." "That's part of my job," she replied, refusing to back away. "Oh, I know," he smiled. "But what I don't understand, Officer Blake, is why my friend Luca seems so interested in you." Her heart dropped. He knew. She kept her face still. "I don't know what you're talking about." Carlo chuckled, a low, dark sound. "You do. And here's the part you're not going to like. Someone like you? Someone wearing a badge?" He leaned in. "You're a liability." Her hand tightened on her weapon. Carlo smirked. "Relax. If I wanted you dead, you'd already be on the ground." She hated how true that was. He faded back toward the car, sliding into the driver's seat, but paused one last time. "Tell Luca I said hello." And then he was gone. The moment the car disappeared, her knees nearly buckled, not from fear, but from the horrifying realization. They weren't watching her because she was a cop. They were watching her because of Luca. She didn't call him, she didn't text, she didn't know what to say. But Luca came anyway. Half an hour later, he appeared in her apartment hallway, breathless, tense, almost shaking. "I heard," he said before she could speak. "Carlo approached you." Elena's eyes narrowed. "How?" "I have people who tell me things, and when they said he confronted a cop," his voice broke. "I knew it was you." She didn't want to care about the panic in his voice. She didn't want to care how fast he had come running, but she did. "He knows something," she whispered. "Not yet," Luca replied, pacing the room. "But he suspects, and suspicion is enough." "Why would he turn on you?" Elena asked. "You grew up together." Luca stopped. His silence said more than any words. "Luca, what did you do?" "I made a choice," he whispered. "And Carlo doesn't forgive choices." "What choice?" He looked at her, the look of a man who had finally realized his world was collapsing. "You," he said. Her breath hitched. "That night in the alley, he saw something in my face. Carlo's not stupid. He notices changes, and when he sees weakness, he cuts it out." "Luca, I'm not your—" "You are," he said, raw and desperate. "I don't know how it happened or when it happened, but you are. And Carlo will use you against me." Elena stepped back, overwhelmed, torn between truth and survival. "Luca, this is too much. You're making yourself a target." His jaw clenched. "I've been a target my entire life." "That's not the same. This time it's because of me." "It's because of us," he corrected. There it was, the word she feared, the word that made everything too real. Before she could speak, Luca moved closer, not touching her, but close enough she could feel the tremor in his breath. "Elena, listen to me. Carlo doesn't ask questions, he acts. If he suspects I care about you, he won't come for me." He swallowed hard. "He'll come for you." A chill ran down her spine. "This ends tonight," she said firmly. "We cut contact. You stay away from me." Luca stared at her with a shattered expression, but not surprised. "And if staying away doesn't protect you," he whispered. "What do you mean?" "Elena," his voice cracked. "My father is starting to notice too." Her stomach dropped. "You mean—" "Yes," he said. "Enzo Moretti knows your name." The world tilted. "And I swear," Luca breathed, "I will not let them touch you, even if I have to turn the entire family against me." She shook her head, terrified for him. "Luca, they'll kill you." He stepped closer, whispering, "I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of losing you." Her heart crumbled. And that was the exact moment, the exact fragile breath, when a soft click echoed from outside her door. A silenced gun, a warning, a message. Carlo hadn't left the street. He had followed her home, and now both of them were trapped in the crosshairs of a war that had only just begun. The silenced click was soft, barely a whisper. But for a cop and for a Mafia son, it was the loudest sound in the world. Elena's blood ran cold. Luca's eyes sharpened instantly. Someone was outside the door. Someone armed. Someone waiting. "Elena," Luca whispered, stepping in front of her without thinking. "Stay behind me." "Absolutely not," she hissed, grabbing his arm. "You're the one they want." But he didn't move. Because in that moment, Luca wasn't the quiet son of the Mafia. He wasn't the man torn between two worlds. He was something else entirely. A shield. A decision already made. "Elena," he murmured, voice low and shaking just enough for her to feel it. "If it's Carlo, he won't shoot me first." "What does that mean?" she whispered. "It means—" "He'll shoot you," Luca said, "and I won't let that happen." Before she could respond, before she could drag him back or argue or breathe, the door handle twisted sharply. Then, boom! The door exploded inward. A shadow rushed inside, fast, brutal, silent. The kind of professional strike meant to end a life before a scream could escape. Luca moved first. Not with training, not with calculation, with instinct. He shoved Elena behind the kitchen island just as the first shot cracked through the apartment, shattering a picture frame on the wall. She hit the floor hard, gasping, reaching for her weapon, but another shot rang out. Elena lifted her head just in time to see Luca jerk backward, stumbling as blood blossomed across his shoulder. "Luca!" she screamed. But he stayed on his feet, staggering, gritting his teeth, refusing to fall, as two masked men rushed him with the brutal precision of professionals sent to finish a job. Carlo didn't come himself. He sent killers. Her stomach twisted with fury and fear. "Get out!" she shouted, firing a warning shot that grazed the wall inches from one attacker's head. They didn't flinch. "Elena, stay down!" Luca yelled, blocking a knife with his forearm. Blood splattered across the tiles. "Like hell I will," she countered, ducking another swing. Everything became chaos. Shouts, footsteps, gunshots echoing off narrow walls. Luca threw his body between her and the attackers again and again, absorbing blows meant for her, taking hits he couldn't afford to take. Even bleeding, even staggering, his movements were clean, precise when but desperate. Elena fired twice, hitting one of the attackers in the leg. He fell instantly, cursing in Italian. The second attacker lunged toward her, knife shining, and Luca roared her name. "Elena!" He didn't think. He didn't hesitate. He didn't care what it would cost. He charged. The knife meant for her tore into him instead, slicing across his side, sinking too deep. His body folded for a second. Before fury brought him back upright, he grabbed the man by the wrist, twisted, and slammed him into the wall hard enough to crack the plaster. The man collapsed, unconscious. Silence fell, a terrifying silence. Luca stumbled backward, breathing raggedly, one hand pressed against the wound in his side. Blood dripped between his fingers. Elena's heart stopped. "Luca!" Her voice broke as she caught him before he fell. He gritted his teeth, blinking hard to stay conscious. "You okay?" He whispered. Anger and fear clashed inside her. "Am I okay?" she cried. "You're the one bleeding like hell." He gave a weak laugh, one that hurt him to make. "Worth it," he murmured. She shook her head fiercely, tears threatening. "You shouldn't have taken those hits for me." He looked at her, eyes soft, dark, pained. "I'd take 1,000 more," he whispered. "For you." Her breath caught, her throat tightened. "Don't say things like that." "Why?" he murmured. "They're true." His knees buckled. She lowered him gently to the floor, pressing her hands over the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. He groaned, leaning into her touch. "Stay with me, Luca. Stay with me. Look at me." His gaze drifted, heavy and tired and unbearably tender. "I'm here," he whispered. "Why did you do that?" she asked, her voice cracking under the weight of everything she felt. "Why would you?" "Because losing you," he said softly, "is the only thing that scares me." Her breath trembled. Her hands trembled. Her heart shattered. He wasn't supposed to feel this. She wasn't supposed to feel this. They weren't supposed to exist in the same world. But here he was, bleeding for her, protecting her, choosing her over his own survival. "Luca," she whispered, her forehead pressing against his. He exhaled like her touch kept him alive. Outside, tires screeched, the attacker's getaway car fleeing before reinforcements could arrive. Inside, Elena held Luca's face in her hands, desperate, terrified. "You're not dying on me," she said. "Do you hear me? Not tonight." He smiled weakly. "I wasn't planning to," but his eyes fluttered, too slow, too heavy. "Luca," she cried, shaking him gently. "Stay awake. I'm trying." His voice faded. "No," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Don't you dare leave me." His fingers brushed her cheek, barely there but full of meaning. "I won't," he breathed. "I promise." Then his hand slid down, and he went still. "Luca?" she whispered. He didn't answer, and as sirens wailed in the distance, Elena realized tonight wasn't just an ambush, it was a message, a declaration of war. And Luca Moretti wasn't the only target. She was too. Luca wasn't breathing normally. His breaths came in weak, shallow pulls, each one a battle his body wasn't sure it wanted to fight. Blood warmed Elena's hands as she pressed down on his wound. Her mind spun, every instinct screaming at her to call for backup. But backup meant police. Police meant questions. Questions meant Luca. Moretti in handcuffs, bleeding on a stretcher while her career burned to the ground. "No," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I'm not letting them take you." She grabbed her phone with one bloody hand. For a second, her thumb hovered over the emergency dial button. For a second, the world held its breath. Turn him in, or save him. Duty, or Luca. Law, or the man who just bled for her. Her stomach clenched painfully. She chose. Elena threw the phone on the floor, grabbed her jacket, and wrapped it around his wound to slow the bleeding. "Stay with me," she whispered, her face inches from his. "I'm getting you out." His eyelids fluttered, barely opening. "Elena, you shouldn't—" "Shut up," she snapped, tears spilling despite her training. "You saved me, now I save you." She hooked her arms under his and dragged him toward the fire escape, her muscles screaming, her breath ragged. Luca's weight was too much. He was too tall, too heavy, too limp, but she didn't stop, couldn't stop. Outside, the night air hit them like ice. She pulled him down the metal stairs step by step, blood trailing behind them like a warning painted on steel. When they reached her car, Luca gasped, a sound full of pain. "Elena, don't. The hospital. They'll call the cops." She cupped his face with both hands. "Do you trust me?" His eyes softened, even through the pain. "Always," he whispered. It almost broke her. She drove like she had never driven before. No lights, no sirens, just a racing heart and a dying man in her back seat. She didn't take him to a hospital. She took him to the only place she could think of, the abandoned clinic on the edge of Chinatown, a place where no paperwork existed, where no names were asked, where the walls had seen more bullets than doctors, the kind of place only a cop who had lived too long in the shadows would know. A retired combat medic, a man called Ruiz, met her at the door. "Elena," he said, eyebrows shooting up. "What the hell?" "He's been stabbed. Shot. Both. Fix him." Ruiz hesitated for half a second. Then he saw her eyes. He shut the door behind her. Hours blurred together. Blood was cleaned. Wounds were stitched. Bandages wrapped around bruised skin and broken ribs. At some point, while Ruiz worked, Elena leaned against the wall, hands shaking so violently she pressed them against her stomach, just to hide it. She wasn't supposed to feel this. She wasn't supposed to risk everything for someone on the wrong side of the law. But the truth was simple. She didn't care about supposed to. When Ruiz finally stepped away exhausted, he said, "He'll live, barely, but he will." Her knees almost buckled. Relief hit with a force that hurt. She walked to the table where Luca lay, pale, unconscious, chest rising slowly beneath the bandages. Ruiz placed a hand on her shoulder. "Elena, whatever you're doing—" "I'm not letting him die," she cut, voice firm even through the tremor. Ruiz sighed. "Then you need to know something." She looked up. Sharply. "The men who attacked you," he said, "those weren't random hitters. Someone high up wants him gone." Her blood froze. Carlo Moretti, Luca's own father. Ruiz lowered his voice. "And they'll come for you too." She swallowed hard, staring down at Luca's limp hand. "I know." "Elena," Ruiz insisted, "you need to disappear. Both of you." She shook her head. "No. We face this." Ruiz exhaled, heavy. "You're choosing him over your badge." She looked at Luca, broken, bleeding, but alive because he had chosen her first. "I guess I am," she whispered. The words felt like betrayal, but also like truth. She took Luca's hand, the first time she had ever done it without fear of crossing a line. His fingers twitched weakly against hers, not fully conscious, but responding to her touch. And that was enough. She leaned closer. "I'm not leaving you," she whispered. "Not now. Not after everything." Outside, engines growled in the distance, multiple cars pulling into the alley. Ruiz's expression hardened. "Elena, they found you." Her heart slammed against her ribs. Luca needed time. She had none. They had none. She stood, gun in hand, shoulders squared. "Let them come," she said. Tonight, Elena Ramirez, by-the-book cop, loyal daughter, officer of the law, stepped fully into the shadows. Not for corruption, not for revenge, not for weakness, for him. For the man bleeding for her in a room full of secrets. For the man she could no longer pretend she didn't love. And as footsteps approached the clinic door, Elena whispered to his unconscious form, "Don't die on me, Luca, because I'm not going down without you." And then she faced the door, ready, because the war had officially begun. The pounding on the clinic door shook the entire building. Elena didn't flinch, not this time. She stood between Luca and the danger outside, a thin line separating life from death, love from tragedy. Her gun was steady, her heartbeat wild but focused. Every instinct screamed for her to run, but something deeper, something truer, held her ground. She wasn't running anymore. Not from the Mafia, not from the law, not from her father, not from her own feelings, not from him. Ruiz whispered sharply behind her, "Elena, if they break through that door, it's over." She shook her head. "No, it's just beginning." The door trembled again, a shoulder slam, then another. Then the metallic whine of a crowbar dragging against the lock. They were trying to break in. Luca groaned behind her. The moment she heard his voice, even weak, even barely conscious, something inside her cracked open. "Luca," she whispered, turning toward him for a second, "you're safe. I promise." But when she looked back at the door, the lock snapped. A hinge groaned. Boots scraped. Voices murmured on the other side. She was outnumbered, outgunned, out of time. Ruiz gripped her arm urgently. "There's a back exit. Take him now. Go." She hesitated, not because she wanted to stay, but because running with him meant making a choice she could never undo. If she took Luca out that door and she stopped being a cop forever, she became a fugitive. She crossed a line no one crossed and returned from. If she stayed, he would die. Simple as that. Her jaw tightened. There was never a real choice. She moved fast. She grabbed the gurney, rolled it toward the back corridor, forcing her body to work harder than it ever had. The metal wheels squealed. Luca's breath wavered. The hallway lights flickered above them like a warning. Behind her, the clinic door burst open. Shouts, boots, guns drawn. "Elena, move!" Ruiz yelled. She did. She shoved the emergency exit, cold night air slamming into her face as she pulled Luca into the alley. The world smelled of gasoline, rain, and danger. And then, tires screeched. A black sedan turned into the alley. For a split second, Elena raised her gun, prepared to exchange fire with anyone who stepped out. But the driver's door opened, and a familiar voice snapped, "Get him. Inside. Now." It was Mendoza, her former partner, the only cop she trusted, the only one who had stayed silent when the DEA began investigating her. Her breath caught. "Mendoza, you followed me?" He didn't answer, meaning yes, meaning he knew everything, meaning he had chosen her anyway. He opened the back door. "Elena, we don't have time. Moretti's men are everywhere. Your father's units are moving too. If you stay here, you both die." She pushed Luca into the back seat as gunshots exploded. Behind them, bullets hitting the brick wall inches from her head. She dove in after him, Mendoza flooring the gas so hard the tires screamed. The car fishtailed out of the alley. They sped into the night. City lights stuttered past the windows. Sirens echoed behind them. Some she recognized, others she didn't. Police, Mafia, everyone hunting the same two people. Mendoza's voice was tight. "Elena, you're choosing him, aren't you?" She looked at Luca, unconscious, pale, barely alive, then looked forward again. "Yes." "Then you need to understand something," Mendoza said. "There's no going back now. Not to the badge. Not to your old life. You cross this line. You're crossing it forever." She nodded once, silent, certain, unshakable. "I know." Mendoza exhaled, a mixture of fear and loyalty. "Okay, then I'm with you." She froze. "Mendoza, you don't have to—" "I already did," he interrupted. "I burned your file before the higher-ups could access it. You're off the grid. Both of you." Her breath left her chest. He had risked his whole career for her, for the girl who was now running with a Mafia prince. Her voice trembled. "Why?" Mendoza glanced at her briefly. "Because I've seen the way you look at him," he said softly. "And the way he looks at you. That kind of thing, that kind of loyalty and that kind of love. People like us don't get that twice." Elena swallowed hard, emotion twisting her chest. Behind her, Luca's hand moved. Barely. But enough. Enough to touch her arm. Enough to feel her there. Enough to know she hadn't left him behind. She turned toward him, eyes burning. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm staying." His lips parted. "Eleanor, don't let go." Her heart twisted painfully. "I won't," she promised, and she meant it. No badge, no law, no fear, no past. Nothing would tear them apart now. Not after everything they had lost. Not after everything they had chosen. The city lights vanished behind them as the car left the road and disappeared into the mountains. A road with no signposts, no boundaries, no names. A road that meant one thing only. They weren't running anymore. They were breaking free. Together. And as dawn began to bloom behind the hills, Elena intertwined her fingers with Luca's. Their old lives faded with the darkness. A new one, dangerous, forbidden, and irreversible, began with the sunrise.